Recording in progress.
Welcome to Planning Commission tonight for the Payson Planning Commission, June 24th. We appreciate you being here. It's a good thing to actually see citizens here. We don't get to see that very often. Now, if you are here for the Nebo Water Project open house, you're in the wrong spot. It's over in the banquet hall. If you're here for Planning Commission, you're in the right spot, and thank you for being here. So we'll go ahead and get started. I've asked Commissioner Frisbee to give us an invocation.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for this day, and we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet and discuss the needs of our city. And we pray that as we look at the issues that are before us, that we'll be able to look at how they'll impact our residents and future residents, and be able to make the decisions which will be best for all who are involved. And we are grateful for the opportunity we have to live in an area which we have the opportunity to participate in government and decide how our communities will be developed. And we pray for a blessing upon our servicemen and women, that they may be protected as they serve our country. And these things we pray in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Frisbee. I did forget to mention that we have two commissioners that are not in attendance tonight, Commissioner Brinkerhoff, Commissioner Becker. They're excused for this evening, but we do have the remaining five here, and we're ready to go. So we'll go to item 3.1 is the approval of the minutes for our meeting held June 10th. Any discussion or questions? No.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes from June 10th.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor with yes?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Item 4, by the way, there are agendas on the back if you need an agenda, back there in those folders on the back. Item 4 is a public forum. That is an opportunity for the public to speak to us about something that is not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, we'll get to it in a minute and you can speak to us then, because it is a public hearing. Doesn't look like anybody wants to. Anybody online want to? Okay. Excellent. We'll move on to the action items. We have a couple of things that are tied together. The way this will work is we'll have a presentation first by staff, and then the applicant will have an opportunity to speak. Then we open the public hearing. That's when the public has an opportunity to talk to us about these items. When we get to that point, we don't need to hear the same thing from 75 people. We need to hear your ideas, and if you have new ideas somebody hasn't already said in the previously, we would love to hear from you, but we don't want to hear the same thing over and over again, because it just gets old and we can't, our little minds can't process it. So we'd like you to reserve that. There have been a number of things that have been sent in as well, and we'll take care of those and get those on the record as well. So we'll turn the time over to
Mr. Chairman, do you want to talk a little bit about public hearing decorum?
Yes. So public hearings are an opportunity for the public to speak. When we have a public hearing, we would like the person that is speaking to come up to a microphone so it can be recorded. That way we can get it in the minutes and the notes properly. You'd state your name and your interest in what you're doing. Talk about what you want to talk about. Reserve or hold your time to approximately 3 minutes, so that we give everybody that wants a chance to speak the chance to do so. If your comments are the same as a previous person, you can get up and say, I agree with whatever, and we can go from there. There'll be no calling out, no yelling out from the audience. Let's pretend like we're in church, okay? And that way we get it on the record. If people are calling out and yelling, it ends up being inappropriate and not recorded, and we can't act on that. And we just have to shut it down then. So anything I've forgotten, Michael?
I would just add that we would politely request that nobody boo, nobody clap,
Right.
um,
There we go.
nobody say any harsh remarks to any individual particularly. All comments are directed to the Planning Commission. It's a public hearing, not a question and answer period.
Correct. Thank you. I'd forgotten about the last thing specifically. This is we may not have the answers if you ask us questions. You can ask questions, but we may not have the answers. It may be something we have to go back and find out later on. So, thank you. All right. The first item is 5.1, General Plan Amendment. This is a request by Jimmy DeGraffenreid. Reed, is that, I believe that's how you say it, on behalf of SITN LLC for an amendment to a portion of the East Side Comprehensive Land Use Plan map. And this amendment would change the land use designation of several properties from active living and to traditional and the district, which would allow for development of detached single-family and townhome residential units. Mike will now give a presentation.
If you prefer, we can do, I parceled the presentation so we can do the one for the plan amendment and then the other for the zone changes. So it's up to you how you want to proceed.
I would recommend that we do the plan amendment and then discuss that and vote on it.
Hold the hearing and, okay.
And because the zone change could change depending on how the plan amendment, if we do it. I mean, if we don't need a zone change, we don't need a zone change when we get all said and done. So.
Okay, very well. So this request is, as was stated for the Mingleson property, it includes a general plan amendment to the East Side Comprehensive Plan, which is an addendum to the Payson City General Plan, and additionally some zone change requests if that plan amendment is approved. So tonight, the applicant seeking those two things. I already mentioned the zone changes and the plan amendment to the East Side Comprehensive Plan. Planning Commission's role tonight is to make a recommendation only. That recommendation would be either for approval or denial of said plan amendment and or zone changes. City Council would be a final decision on whether or not any of these things take place. And then if they do take place, staff would work with the applicant on any subdivision development or site plan improvements. So let's zoom into the area. I'm sure everybody's well aware, but let's take a look anyway. So this is the property that we're discussing tonight. The street up there, 10300 South, county coordinate for 100 South here in Payson. And I believe that is 1200 East right there. 1300 East, 1200 is on the other side. So continuing on here, there's three things we want to try to mention here. So the East Side Comprehensive Plan identifies this area to be active living at some point in the future. And active living, you can see as shown there, is identified not with any kind of density, but it identifies kind of the end users of the property, which would be people of 55 plus age range. It does talk about single story living, but then it goes on to talk about basements and second stories being used for less than necessary function. So take that how you will. The general plan for this area, which was completed after the East Side Comprehensive Plan, so the general plan is a newer document, shows this area potentially as becoming what's called mixed use center. The mixed use center, again, doesn't necessarily identify any particular density for the area, but we did have in the general plan recently an amendment to the plan that identified most appropriate zones for mixed use center. That one would be this S1 zone, and the mixed use overlay. The S1 zone, we don't necessarily feel is appropriate for this area, but generally throughout the city, the mixed use center, it makes sense for this. So this is not a great comparison in this regard. It's just pointing out the fact that there's differences between these two plans. The closest in relation to in the East Side Comprehensive Plan to the general plan is this area called the district. And the district talks about a mixture of housing uses of various housing types and sizes, and close to major transportation facilities, things of that nature. So that's the closest in perspective, and that was why it was the recommendation. If the East Side plan is to be changed, then this would make sense to be the most likely designation to put in the East Side plan that would reflect similarly to what the general plan states. On this, staff is recommending a positive recommendation for approval for a plan amendment to align these two plans. Staff's recommendation would be that this area be designated the district. That's not necessarily what it must be. That's just the recommendation based off of what we envision that there's going to be in this area in the future. And again, the district is a variety of housing products, various densities and sizes. Secondarily, the Planning Commission could forward a different motion. And I give an example there of, instead of the active living, it could be, for example, the traditional, which is identified in the East Side Comprehensive Plan as being a quarter to third acre single family home lots. And then finally, the Planning Commission could recommend a negative recommendation for amendment to the plan. Any questions on that from the Planning Commission?
Any questions from anybody? Makes sense to all of us up here. Okay.
So that being said, that's the end of the plan presentation stuff. They are interchangeable to a lot, and a lot of these comments, most of them reflect changes to the zoning and the plan, but mostly focusing on the zoning. So I'll just leave it in at your discretion when you'd want me to share any of those comments that have been shared with us.
Before we do that, is the applicant here?
Yes.
Would the applicant like to come address us a little bit at all? Yes, if you would, please. And then just touch the panel there at the bottom and it'll turn on. There you go.
Okay, I am Jimmy DeGraffenreid. I represent Sitton LLC, SITN. I am a partner with Mike and Karen Anderson, who has owned this property for a number of years. I think Karen and Mike inherited it from her parents, which are the Mangelsons. And so they are still involved in this property. So as far as this part of the plan, I don't know if there's anything that anybody has questions on as far as changing this part. I don't know.
Okay.
I
Do we have any questions for?
So I would just say, Jimmy, part of the reason why you want to change the plan is you want to remove that 55 plus restriction on the area. Is that?
Yes, that is correct. We looked at, I mean, I'm not against 55 plus stuff. I mean, I'm 54, so one more year. I want to be for it, right? But what we've looked at is that um, they're not selling all that well. You know, there's another 55 and older community that's very close to this property that is not selling very well. Also, I think that a lot of us, when we get close to 55, don't feel that old and don't know if we want to move into a community that, you know, is based just on that. And so, you know, looking at it, you know, just from that perspective, you know, we're looking at it, what's the highest and best use for the property? And we think it'd be a really long, hard sell for 55 plus.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from commissioners? All right, we'll handle this section and then you might be back up. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. Discussion, commissioners, before we open the public hearing. Any discussion, or do we want to open the public hearing on this section?
Maybe open the public hearing and then we can have discussion after.
That would be fine.
So therefore, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a proposal to open the public hearing on section 5.1.
I have a motion to open a public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor with yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay. This is an opportunity for the public to come up and talk to us about this item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read these comments now?
I think so.
I think
so.
it might summarize a lot of what the public here already wants to say.
Yep.
And if they want to specifically come up, that's up
Yep.
to them. But
I agree with that. That'd be
Okay.
fine.
so the first set of comments were nearly identical. So my intent would just be to read one of them and then identify the individuals that submitted those comments.
Okay.
If some of those individuals are here and they would like to say something more, they're more than welcome to do so.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so the first one, this one just talks about the individuals having lived in the area, but then I'm going to talk about the concerns because those are the things that are the same with everyone. My concerns include maintaining Payson's character. One of the reasons families, including mine, choose Payson is its long-standing pattern of single-family neighborhoods. Preserving that character supports stability and helps families remain in the community. Second, school capacity. Our local schools are already crowded. Higher density housing would add additional strain on classrooms, teachers, and support staff. Third, cumulative growth in this corridor. With significant development already underway in Arrowhead and along Highway 198 in Salem, adding more high-density housing here would compound traffic, infrastructure pressure, and regional congestion. Fourth, neighborhood stability. Single-family neighborhoods tend to foster long-term residents, stronger community ties, and greater investments in homes. Introducing medium-density zoning into an area planned and developed as rural residential undermines the predictability that homeowners rely on when making decisions about their property. Fifth, infrastructure and livability. The roads serving this area were not designed for the traffic volumes that come with higher density housing. Residents already experience limited visibility, congestion, and pedestrian safety concerns, issues that would worsen without significant roadway improvements. Number 6, consistency with the Payson City General Plan. The General Plan emphasizing protecting existing neighborhoods, distributing density appropriately, and ensuring compatibility with surrounding land uses. These parcels are currently within a rural residential area surrounded by R110 development. A shift to medium density residential would be a substantial departure from the established character of the neighborhood. And then each of these sets of comments also state the following. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the Commission deny the RMF 15 multifamily zoning, approve consistent R110 single family zoning for this property, carefully gather and review updated data on traffic, infrastructure, and school capacity before making a final decision. Individuals that said very similar to this include Stephanie Ellis, let's see, Jamie and Beth Serrano, Patricia Fillerup, Claire Everett, Raul Spencer, Holly Sorensen, Cody Condi, Larry Gadd, Lauren Barnes, Monica Elder, Nicole Stautzenberger, and Dusty Bishop. We do have a few more comments that are similar to these, but do have some variations. I would state that if the individuals are here, they're more than welcome to come and make their comments. If they're not here, then I can summarize what's here. So maybe I read the names, and if they are here, they could be welcome to come up. We've got Kenton Phillips. Is Kenton here? And then I think there was another. Cheryl Phillips. Okay. Rita Bueller. Okay. Come on up.
So my name is Rita Bueller. I live at 1187 East, 180 South. So even though my property doesn't adjoin the parcels that are being requested for zoning, I'm just the next one down from that. To start with, based on, you're looking at the plan amendment right now. I have a question for you. So I'm newer to the community. So I wasn't there when the planning got looked at for, I'm sorry, the property where the apartments and the townhouses, which are kitty corner to these parcels that are being looked at this time, when that was changed in. But when I look at the existing comprehensive map, that section where those townhouses, apartments are, is listed as a special needs housing. And I don't see on any changes to that section. So I presume that had to have been changed in your plan to have put in that whole complex, but it doesn't look like it got adjusted to the map. So the reason I bring that up is when you look at the planning map, you don't see that you're looking at an area that's already, I presume, designated as the district based on what can be in that area, being kitty corner to the one that's being considered right now. And I think that that is misleading. I think that it needs to be pointed out that that type of section is already in that neighborhood on that street. And I think from a planning point of view, that map needs to be adjusted if you made an adjustment, because I don't believe that section, fits the designation of a special needs area, which is designated on your map. Do you want me to go ahead and address the other zoning?
We'll have another hearing. We'll have another hearing that you're more than welcome to talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
The last one that I had that was fairly similar was from a Brent and Jennifer Baxter. Did you want to come up, Brent? Or so Brent and Jennifer had some similar concerns related to what I originally read. They opposed the RMF 15 zoning. They feel as if there's concerns that are inconsistent with the general plan. They have the concerns with maintaining Payson's character, school capacity, cumulative growth within the area, neighborhood stability, infrastructure, and livability. And then they just mentioned some concerns about the various things that are being parked on the street already in that vicinity, the increase in traffic and vehicles going through the area, the increase in litter and garbage and dog refuse. Anything else that you'd like me to summarize there for you, Brent? Sure.
Yes.
My name's Brent Baxter. I'm a little bit concerned about the safety factor also going on in that area. We see young children out playing next to the road because these high density areas, there's very little, I guess, recreational space for children. And so therefore we see them out playing more towards the streets. And we see a lot of cars going through there at high rates of speed. I had one person pass me when I was out exercising the other day walking, and he had to have been going 45 to 50 miles an hour on First South, headed west. And yet, right that area, we have young children that are out there playing. We have children on e-bikes, e-scooters, you name it, riding up and down that road. They're clipping along at pretty good speed too, but I mean, they're entitled to that, but they're not even obeying the signs. And so when we start increasing the volume of people around there, we're only going to start increasing the volume of problems like that. And that's a huge safety concern. And as mentioned also, so that's one of my big concerns right there. Thank you.
Okay.
So Kenton and Cheryl Phillips, their comments, again, are very similar to what's been read, with the one exception that they have a primary concern about agricultural water shares, the irrigation ditch, field drain access, and maintenance. And so that's just something to make note there on them. And then there's a few others that I have here that the intent, I guess, of the concern is the same, but the language is different. So I don't know if you want me to read that or how you want me to approach that one.
Give us the name and see if they're here, and then we'll.
Nettie Zeman. Did you want to speak, Nettie?
So that's my email. My name's Lynette Zeman, and my property is just directly, we're neighbors right there. And we do have concern with the water issues that Kenton has talked about. One of the things that Kenton and Cheryl wanted me to bring up, if I could, is this. It seems like there's a frenzy in the area to build these high density places. And we don't feel like the east side is the place for that to happen. I also see across the street from me and further to the east, there are at least 4 different farms that have now sold out. And if we choose to amend this plan, then it also affects those, I feel like, going down the road. I know this probably isn't the place to further that issue, but it will be an issue. If they get the amendment changed, then who's to say that it's not further down the road? And that's not conducive to my health. But I'm not opposed to the development because that's going to happen. But it's the high density. The single house, the traditional design is what we would like to see happen. And I think most of the people here today that are in agreement with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Tanil Olson. Is Tanil here? So I can read that one. I have one for Angie Stewart. Do you want to speak, Angie? Okay, I'll just read yours if that's okay. Larry Milligan. Larry, did you want to speak?
Hi, I'm Larry Milligan. Wasn't really planning on talking, but I heard something that I wanted to address. I'm at 1242 East, 320 South, so next to the Siemens Field, some back a block or so. But I did hear the applicant say that he's kind of hamstrung by the 55 plus requirement. I get that. I'd be all right with removing that personally. I think we need neighborhoods with kids. And that puts a lot of restriction on abilities to use the property. But I think when I bought like 12 years ago, I looked at the general plan and it looked to me at the time, I could be mistaken, but it looked to me like it was zoned or planned to be agricultural and R110. And I'm okay with that. I moved from an area where there's a lot of high density housing and it always brings problems. I kind of wanted to avoid that. So I purchased my property thinking that I wouldn't have apartments moving in right next door to me. So I'd be all right. And I suspect most of the people who are here would be all right with third to quarter acre lots, but we don't need 3 and 4 story high density places. So if the zone change or what are we calling this? The plan change needs to incorporate that, I'm all for that. But I think the traditional is what I'd be looking for. So
Okay, thank you.
anyway, thanks.
Okay, next I have Taylor Lynn Spanheimer. Okay, I'll summarize that one. Connie Carrasco. No, Connie. And I have one without a name on it here. That one's yours. Did you want to speak? Okay.
Thank you for hearing us. My name is Lee Timothy, and I promise not to take your 3 minutes. I should probably just
You're all
stand up.
doing well so far, so I'm
I
good.
should probably just stand up and almost say me too and sit down. But I did want to share a few of my personal concerns. Most of all, I'm concerned about the quality of life, which we've talked a lot about. And safety was included in that. Now, when I lived here 40 some odd years ago, I met my wife here, Wendy Finch, and I promised her that I wouldn't move her to California and live in a stucco house. Well, we left about 2 years later, but we have moved back, so I had to keep that promise to bring her back. I paid taxes here for about 16 years this time. As far as safety is concerned, we have lived in places where we have seen that high density housing become a real safety issue from a legal standpoint. A lot of crime takes place. We may not see it here in Utah, but I have seen that happen where the housing developments where we have lived have actually had to be gated communities because of the crime that's been created with people that are transient. And I have a concern about that, just like the others here have talked about. I mentioned that I paid taxes for the 16 years, and the board has increased taxes every year. And I'm to the point where I am retired. I'm over the age of 55. And so I'm concerned about that continued cost that comes to us that are retired. Let's see. If I want to add anything else to this. The costs of all of the development, I believe, should go to the developer and not the city. The cost to connect all of the utilities that it would take to establish that subdivision, I'm sure would be quite hefty for the city. The city's building a new fire department on the west side of town, and we're talking about opening up new developments on that east side of town. So I have a concern about any development over there. I have a concern about the pressure on the grid and on our water supply. And I know that you have seen your water capabilities on paper, But I think today is probably a perfect time to be talking about this with the fires going on. So I have a concern about that. I won't ask any questions or ask for any response right now, but those are some of my concerns. The other is wildlife. I'm not an environmentalist, but I have been a hunter in the past, and I have a concern about our environment and the migration of the deer and the pheasant and the migratory birds are all disrupted. And I may not be the person to stand on that and die on that point, but there may be somebody that is. And so that might be something you need to address. Let's see. Irrigation water, I know that the owners have the right to sell those rights, but there again, who would cover those canals for those farmers that are left? And who would bear the cost? And would those water rights go back to the city for our pressurized system? I don't know how that all works here. I guess the school district, have you had any feedback from the school district? I know there was a question asked, but that might be something you need to take up with. I live with an educator. She's retired, but I know that the transient students in her class were a struggle. And they need to be educated just like anybody else. But the school district needs to be involved, I'm sure, in all of this. Other than that, I want to thank you for your time and hope you made the right decision. I guess I have one last question. It isn't a question, but I hope that you listen to the people that live there like you do, and that this isn't just a financial decision for a developer, and that it's for the betterment of Payson. And I would like to see something published that would explain the benefits to this Payson City residents. What is the benefit to us as residents of Payson? Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'll read these other ones then.
Okay, please.
So this is Connie Carrasco. Dear members of the Planning Commission, I am writing to share my concerns about the proposed general plan amendment and zoning changes for the Mangleson property. I have lived in the Payson area for 52 years and have been at our house for 20 years. In 1974, we were the first transplants, which we were called back then, and moved in the first subdivision off of 8th South. I was fine with the growth until we had our first summer here and power outages every night. We didn't have water shortages like we do today. I'm very disappointed in our planning and zoning and our city leaders to expect this high density building to carry on like this. As a resident of Payson, I care deeply about how this land is developed and the long-term impact on our community. In our area, we have no parks for the children. I am concerned about the traffic we are facing now, but how it will be with these extra high density houses. I've loved the small town feel, which we have lost since all this high density building. I miss the green spaces we had and the wild animal life we see. We are told to conserve our water, and yet the city plans are to build more and more. Does this make sense? With the lack of water conditions we have now, we should have a moratorium on building these types of high density housing. Let's be more responsible for the people that live here already. I won't be able to make the meeting, and that's why she's asking this. So, next is Taylor Lynn Spanheimer. Dear Planning Commission, I support low density single family zoning R110 for the Mangleson property, but I oppose the proposed RMF 15 multifamily designation with significant growth already happening nearby. Adding higher density housing here would increase pressure on traffic and infrastructure. Low density housing creates lasting ties to the community and long-term residents. This area is better suited for single family homes that align with Payson's character. Please deny the RMF 15 portion and approve single-family zoning only for that area. Thank you for your hard work. Angie Stewart, it has come to my attention that the Payson City Planning Commission is seeking approval for a new housing project near my home. We moved to Payson specifically because it was more rural and quiet. Since then, there was a large development built with multifamily high-density units and a 55-plus development. I understand that right across the street from this, the city plans to add even more multifamily units. There are many people who have built their dream homes right in this area. None of us want our properties devalued by what high-density housing does to an area. There are already so many townhouses in the same area. It looks so messy. There are vehicles parked everywhere up and down the street because there is not enough parking in the apartment parking lots for everyone's cars. It has become a safety issue as you try to walk in the area. It's unsafe now. So many cars parked and coming and going. One person was hit by a car in the past few months, we understand. We are asking that you please reconsider and opt to allow only single-family homes in this area instead of high-density homes. We would happily welcome some new, beautiful homes next to us that will help our property values, but no one wants to live next to packed high-density units with cars everywhere. We will move from our home if Payson City approves this project. We hope you will consider all the homeowners' comments regarding this project and only allow for single-family homes to be built. Tennille Olson, dear members of the Planning Commission, I'm writing to share my concerns about the proposed high-density housing for the Mangelson property. I have lived in Payson for 17 years. I love the quiet neighborhood with families that have become friends, which reflects the character of Payson. Payson is a family-centered community with primarily single-family homes. This type of housing supports long-term stability and a neighborhood community that is special. This kind of neighborhood and community makes the city of Payson special. We have stayed in our neighborhood because of the wonderful connections we have made with families that have lived here long-term. We would love to keep that kind of connection that would come with single-family homes on the Mangelson property. Payson's general plan emphasizes the preservation and improvement of existing neighborhoods and property values, the appropriate distribution of residential density, and the protection of established neighborhood character. High density would contradict this vision and plan for the city. I am also concerned with the safety along 100 South and 2300 West roads. I use these roads frequently for running. 100 South is already congested with cars that are parked in the road, and it has a higher traffic volume. The 100 South Road already feels less safe as a runner. There is less visibility for cars and persons and less room for everyone to travel safely on the roads. I'm concerned that safety will decrease even more if there is high-density housing added to the Mangelson property. I feel like the infrastructure of this neighborhood will not support high-density housing traffic volumes. I would feel unsafe running on the neighborhood roads if there were even more cars driving by and cars parked on the roads, limiting visibility. I love that my kids want to go out and walk and bike on these same roads. I am concerned about the higher traffic and decreased safety that high density housing poses for my kids. I would not feel safe letting them go out on their bikes or walking with more traffic. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the Commission deny the RMF 15 multifamily zoning and instead approve R110 single family zoning for the property. These last two, one of them was specifically requested that should be read, and then the other one is two individuals that are in support of the request. So this is from Josh Webster. He's not able to be here, but he specifically requested that this be read. In response to the attached letter I received, my property is right next to this property. Please do not change the zoning from R1A. If you must change the zoning, please change the zoning to R110 to match the rest of the neighborhood. If you must approve more high-density housing, please keep that on the north side of the highway. High-density housing does not fit the rest of the neighborhood. Points of discussion. Number one, the intersection of 100 South and 1300 East cannot handle the traffic. You cannot widen 1300 East because the road will be on the front porch of the historic Zeman home. Please visit this intersection and see for yourself how dangerous this intersection is. You cannot stand at that intersection because you will be impeding traffic. A school bus cannot turn at that intersection without the tires going off the pavement. I have seen several automobiles of every type get stuck and go off the road there. I have seen a passenger car turn upside down in the ditch. The most entertaining one was a lumber delivery truck that could not negotiate the intersection, and they had to bring a large crane to move the truck. There is a dangerous bottleneck on 100 South and 1300 East. If you stand on 100 South and look east, you will see many cars from the high-density housing parked on the street, in the street. Their cars are parked in the middle of the street. The only areas where parking is a problem is near the high-density housing. Please do not make this worse by approving more high-density housing. The intersection of 1300 East and Salem Canal Road to the south is not safe. The concrete and steel wall on the west side of that intersection is a huge safety hazard and is going to cause a serious accident. People in this development will use that intersection to go to Elkridge. The walking trail along Salem Canal Road is very dangerous. The only thing separating the pedestrian from the traffic is a line of gravel, which gets kicked onto the road and the path. Please do not approve this property for high-density housing. So the last two I'll read. First one is from Stephen Dewey. I've had an office in Payson for the past 40 years and practiced medicine. I've also have some farmland near the Payson city limits and haven't paid as close attention as I should have about what is going on around me. The high-density apartment buildings built several years ago right to the north of our stables is a good example. I feel it was higher density than it should have been. Water under the bridge now. As to the upcoming meeting to articulate zoning of the farmlands adjacent to our properties, I believe multi-story structures should be prohibited. Multi-dwelling complexes are appropriate if a reasonable level of density is adhered to. Say 4 families per combined structure. The units to the west of our farm and just adjacent to the east of the nursing home we built as examples of tastefully done units and at a reasonable density. These should have been put out to the east right across from our farm instead of that 3-story apartments that were approved. I'm not interested in being annexed at this time or in the near future, but I hope you'll consider my letter in your deliberations. And he's given this other gentleman, which I'll read about, Gary Jones, authorization to share this letter. So this is Gary Jones. Dr. Stephen Dewey is unable to attend tomorrow's meeting regarding the Mingleson rezoning, but he asked me to share his position. Dr. Dewey, along with Mont and Sandra Spencer, would prefer that their property be rezoned in a manner consistent with the Mangleson property, specifically to mixed-use density. I represent Mr. and Mrs. Spencer, and we believe that mixed-use density would be a better use for their property while also providing them with the highest value. Thank you for your consideration. And that's all I have.
Okay. I think it would be advantageous, Michael, if we put up the general plan in that area, what it currently is, the map of the general plan in that area, and then toggle between it and the east side area specific plan. So we can kind of look at that a little bit.
That might take a moment.
Okay. Is there any of the public that would like to come up and comment? Please do so now. Remember to state your name.
I'm Teresa Reynolds, and I live near the hospital in the over 55 area. They're already building more homes behind my house for people over 55. I think there's going to be 17 units, 12 to 17 units going in there. I also feel that we moved here from Spanish Fork because we couldn't even drive out of our driveways anymore because of the traffic and the uh, horrible situation that they're in since they put in Walmart and some of the other places that have just devastated the main street and all the streets going in every direction. Also, you talk about infrastructure. Your city, I walk to Walmart. I live across from the hospital. I walk to Walmart. I walk to Fresh Market. I walk to the other one that's up here on the hill. I walk to the senior center. I walk to your library. You don't even have sidewalks. I can't even walk from my house to the hospital without going over a gravel pit to get there. I can walk in the road, like that one fella said, but in Utah, you guys run people over that are in the road. I am 80 years old. Seriously, I try to walk to my church and I don't even have a sidewalk to go across that area. That's outrageous that we can't. And when I was in the first ward, we had to walk through the dirt to get over to that church or run across the highway in front of the hospital. It's ridiculous. If you're going, you've got to take care of what you have now. Now, I don't know too much about what's going on in this building plan. I have been to the retreat many times, and that's a really high density area. And I think if you're moving it and encroaching that anymore into your city, you're absolutely out of your minds. There's no way that should be done. No way. And if you have to put in, I hate you to take out all that land that's right there that is good for us, good for our children. We got to have land somewhere. Well, you can't go down Arrowhead without seeing the horrible situation that we're becoming in this area. And why do it to Payson? Why do it to Payson? We don't need that kind of population. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Garrett Hyde. Just want to talk about three things just to kind of highlight.
Would you say your name again, please?
Garrett Hyde.
Okay.
Garrett Hyde. Yep. So just for your situational awareness in that area, there already is some 55 plus communities. So there's the retreat that's just kitty corner to the Mingleson property. There's 2 apartment buildings there, and then across the highway there's the Rosewood Estates, and those are both 55 plus. So I do agree that keeping or changing the plan from active living to something like traditional would be acceptable because there's already 55 plus communities in that area. As far as sidewalks, there are no sidewalks around the Mingleson property. You have an LDS church that's just to the west of it. The sidewalk ends at that church. Then you have a retaining pond, and then the Mingleson property. On the north side, there is a sidewalk along the assisted living spot, but then that terminates, and then you have to go into the road to go to that intersection that buses have troubles traversing, and then you have sidewalks at the townhomes that are there, kitty corner. So I think any development that goes in there, the city will have to look at putting in sidewalks to make those areas traversable by pedestrians. And then the third thing is there is no parks in our community. And so if you have high density housing going there, where are those families going to play? And so I think those are just the things I wanted to highlight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Dusty Bishop. I've lived here my whole life, grew up out in West Mountain. Dennis Bishop was my dad. And so I'm a surveyor. I know development's going to happen. I think we're up in the night if we think it's all going to stay fields forever, but we just want it to be like the area we live in, single family. There's a reason we all live in Payson. You know, I have worked for years in Salt Lake, years in Tooele, all, but I've stayed here, and there's a reason for that because I like Payson. I like what it is, small town. You know, none of us want to live in Spanish Fork or Provo or Salt Lake. That's why we're here. And like somebody said, there's a lot of people in our neighborhood that have already talked about if this goes in, we're out of here. You know, it's not what we want. It brings all kinds of issues, I guess. And as far as the safety goes, same comment that 100 South between the hospital and the church is like those guys use it as like a drag racing strip. So I would consider more police patrol there because I've had to pull over and chew people out riding wheelies on motorcycles, and I mean like 60, 70 miles an hour in their, you know, muscle car or whatever, just burning up and down, back and forth. I could hear it from my house. Got in my truck, drove over there, and they're still doing it. You know, it's so. Anyway, that's what we don't want is the high density. So.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name's Mike Anderson, and if I may, I'd like to concede to the late gentle lady that traffic laws in Utah are certainly becoming mere suggestions. I am one of the owners, along with Karen Mangelson, with Jim DeGraff and Reed. I married Karen Mangelson, David Mangelson's oldest daughter, 41 years ago. And when I courted her, and I drove over to Dave Mangelson's property, there wasn't a lot of homes around there. He was pretty isolated. Dave was a man who liked his privacy. And we got married, and my profession took me away and took us away. And we, just like everybody else, wanted to come home, especially after he died. She felt the need, and I felt the need to come back and allow her to help take care of her mom and be around her mom. And Utah's home to us too. We wanted to be here and raise our kids here and have that experience for them. But time does what it does, and everybody wanted their little slice of heaven, and all that ground got developed, and everybody was looking for their piece. And developers came, and the ground got built on. And I can't blame anybody for that. Time does what time does. Now, Renee's gone, and some years have come and gone, and family issues have gotten finally settled. And Karen has gotten her little bit of inheritance, and all we're trying to do is make the most out of what Dave and Renee left her. That's all we're trying to do, and leave something for our kids. And the other thing that we're trying to do is we want to have our kids stay here. But as you well know, Utah County has priced everybody out. Our kids have been moved in and out of our basement 2 or 3 times. Our youngest daughter's just moved back in because she's having their 3rd child, and it's not working out so well for them. So when we finally got the property deal straightened out, I hope I'm not going over 3 minutes, kind of nudge me if I am. I've known Jim for a while, and he's an honest man. I went and looked him up. And I showed him the property, and I said, Jim, I'd like to do some business with you. And that's how we went into business with each other. And we thought, let's offer some lower priced housing that kids can get into. So that's my thought on the subject. If we can get some kids into some homes that they can afford, that was my thought on the subject. And if we can get some money into maximize, frankly, some value from my wife, then bully for her. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Braden Johnson. I live just south of where this is proposed in a development that I bought 2 years ago, a house that was turned into R110, and there's about 30 homes and I don't know how many acres it is, and some of my neighbors are here. But I would echo a lot of the same concerns that have been shared. Our neighborhood is kind of like a little horseshoe that attaches, like around 1300 South running that way. And in our little neighborhood of 30 homes, there's over 35 kids that are 16 years old or younger, with a lot of families still actively having kids. And as has been mentioned, with the lack of parks, kids go and they play in the streets, and adding another 50 units or whatever the exact number is on top of all the issues we already have is going to cause major problems. And in 3, 4, 5 years, when this is all completed, there might be 45 kids just in this little block that I live in, causing all sorts of problems. So that's just the one thing I wanted to echo on was additional safety. And I am also in real estate, so I understand a lot of the wanting to maximize and have the highest and best use of a plot of land and development. Medium high density is not going to be what I believe is the best for that area. I think there can be still a lot of money made in the development side going R110, and just having it a single family home. So just to echo what everybody else has said, that's just the 2 cents that I have.
Thank you.
My name is Jake Newbert. Are you able to put the map of the proposed development? I own one of the two pieces of property just west of the Mangelson's field. Renee's son Don built the house that I live in. And to comment to the gentleman about Renee would not want high density. She would not want low housing income in this area. I think I understand. I'm a general contractor. My concern with the high density is zoning gets changed, land gets sold, and then it opens the can of multiple stories like we see on the highway. That's my biggest concern is rezoning. With the Spencer's property across just east of this property, this opens the can of high density to keep continuing. So my property is in the bottom left corner. That white roof is my barn. My question and my concern is the road that dead ends at the corner of my property, which is 180 South. My question is, what is the city's stance about continuing that road through 180 South? What that would do, one, take part of my acre and a quarter that I own, and that would put 3 roads around my home, which I'm not happy about. So I've looked into the legal aspects of what that looks like in the city forcing me and selling my property, part of my pasture, to continue that road. The other concern with that road dead ending there is that becomes a parking lot for residents or high density housing. But the reason I bought this property, the acre and a quarter, is I have animal rights. I love the open space. As a general contractor, development is going to happen. I understand that. but single family homes is what I would prefer to see in this property, not high density. If that road that dead ends at my property, if that road were proposed to go through and I am somehow forced to give right away to that, that gives 3 roads, that high density traffic, because those other 2 roads are so busy and complex, that sends all of that high density traffic through uh, through where I live and through that tight neighborhood. So that is a big concern of mine, is what is proposed with the road that dead ends at both ends of my pasture. So 180 South currently dead ends already, and this would be another dead end at my other end of my property. So that would be a question that I would have for the city council. What is the proposed with these 2 dead end roads coming into my space, creating 3 roads around my entire property? I echo the safety concerns as well. Like I say, I'm against the high density. As a contractor, I work on a lot of high density with other builders. I see what the traffic does, the people it brings. We all want affordable housing, but when we talk about making lower income or affordable housing, there's, in a tactful way, it brings a certain type of mankind, and I just don't think our neighborhood is willing to accept that. So, but somehow, some way, I would like to get an answer. I don't know if I can get that answer now. What is proposed with this road that butt ends to my property? Are you able to give me any insight on that at this time?
Michael might be able to say something on that.
The great thing about that situation is you control the destiny of it. Because if the city has no plans or intentions to actually put that road through unless it was a bona fide public need,
Okay.
which I don't envision that being. And so the primary reason the city would see that go through would be just for connectivity, and you control that destiny, because if you don't want that to go through, then don't develop your property or don't sell your property and it won't go through.
Right.
You and the Phillips control that.
Yeah. So would that road continue to be a dead end at my property as proposed
Well,
currently?
it's actually,
This is just a concept that they shared with us, and that concept was shared with us with the city's desire to have that connectivity of roads. Whether or not that's approved and actually done, that comes down to how the subdivision would be laid out if approved, and those things.
Okay.
Maybe it doesn't even go in at all.
Right.
So
Okay. That would be my concern, is the road going through with high density traffic. I mean, residential, I'm okay with that. Make it continue on with the neighborhood that is currently existing. It's bound to happen. As a contractor, I understand this. This is my livelihood as well. You have 52 doors in this subdivision, and right now homes are selling from 650 to $1 million. Condos, townhomes, 450 to 500,000. There's a lot of money here. I understand that, but there's a time and a place, and rezoning this, like I said, my biggest concern is land. There are multiple developers that get it through the city, get it rezoned, and they make a living by selling it to the next guy who doesn't want to go through all of this. And then the concept completely changes because that zoning has been already approved. So this may be the concept, but this gets rezoned, property gets sold, things completely change. So that's, I echo a lot of these citizens. A lot of these are my neighbors. We live here. I have 1.25 acres because I like the space. I like the privacy. I work around high density, and I'm just not for it. So I do oppose it. Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, I'll be quick. I just wanted to point out, oh, sorry, Sky Watson. I just wanted to point out, so I'm living in the same newer developed block that Braden Johnson is living in, where we have 35 kids, actually most of which are under the age of 10. We would love a park. But I just wanted to point out that those neighbors, because they have a lot of young children, are not able to be here, but I've talked to a lot of them and they are in agreement that we do not want the high density housing. And I just wanted to make sure that their voices were represented too, because not all of them sent emails, but they definitely feel the same way that the rest of us do. The other thing that I wanted to say is, so we moved in a couple years ago. We could easily live somewhere north of here. My husband works in American Fork right now, and it would be a lot easier for travel to live somewhere else. But we like Payson because it's small and um, there it's just a family single family home place where we wanted to get out of the craziness of Provo and be somewhere quieter. And if that changes, I think we're probably running out of good reasons to stay. So I would really like to see things stay single family. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Lauren Barnes. You got a really long email from me, which I hope you'll all look at.
I read it. I have it right here, actually.
Okay, thank you. I am a big fan of gathering data, analyzing data, making research-informed decisions. I'm a nerd, right? So one of the things I really hope influences this decision. So based on the proposed city map for the city plan, it does list a community park on there. And my kids said, Mom, if you get up to speak, you better mention that park coming in and ask when it's happening. Because we usually have to drive 10 minutes to a park, right? So I know that that is in the plan between Payson and Salem. And it would be really awesome if this planned community park could be a central feature and not just be surrounded by high density housing. A lot of the district area is intended to fall between Payson and Salem. And when I was looking at what that could encompass, there is a lot of room in there for a variety of types of housing. And I think it's really important that as we make this decision, it will start to move towards Salem as we develop more and more of the district area. So this is kind of a transition for this side of Payson. So concentrating higher density in this location risks compounding regional growth pressures rather than creating a balanced intentional transition between the communities. That's what we want. And then I'll just echo, I'll say ditto to what has also been said about traditional land use and homes.
Thank you.
Hey, my name's Matt Workman. I live by the Siemens Field. You can see the Mangelson's property. I want to agree with what's been said. I'm in favor of single family home traditional zoning. I do have a couple comments on what has been said as far as getting homes for our children to afford. I want to be clear that they're going to sell these for as much as they can get. And I don't see them taking less profits to reduce the cost of these homes. So I don't think that's a very valid argument. I don't want to be, well, I don't know what the right word is. The other thing is, when we do put in this many homes, they do not plan for enough parking. They offer like 1.5 cars per door. People are paying so much for rent that they're bringing 2 cars home plus their work trucks. It's very unsafe, and I would like to see traditional zoning for this property. Thank you. Can I say one more thing? One more thing. Sorry, it's me again. I did get an email back from the city. I talked to somebody and I asked her about the public safety, and her concept here was conceptual review of the layout proposal has received a negative recommendation from the Payson Police Department. This was from Emily Otley on June 16th. So I just want to point out that the police have a negative opinion of this proposal as well. And we're hiring, another police officer, trying to give a couple of them raises. And this is going to put a burden on them to help support this initiative. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Gary Jones. So I represent Malt Sandy Spencer, and I've been asked by Dr. Stephen Dewey just kind of voice his opinion. Dewey and the Spencers absolutely do not want 3 and 4 story high density type homes in there. What they were more envisioning, I don't know if you've been over to the Viridian development over in Salem, but that style of townhomes, nicer townhomes with 2-car garages, that's a beautiful community over there. It's built really well. I've talked to Mr. DeGraffenreid a little bit about it. We feel like that the 55 and older really hinders the property. It hinders the property owners of what the value that they could get out of their property. I know these property owners that have been there for probably 70, 80 years that have worked that ground, probably getting tired of farming and ready to move on, and would like to capitalize on their property the best they can. My understanding, it would be maybe nice townhomes at the front, and then fade back in maybe twin homes, and then single family homes. A nice community. But regarding going to just regular single family homes, you cut down the density, and that does cut down the value for the property owners of what they can get. And I feel like they deserve the right to be able to get the value that they want out of it, as long as it's not a hindrance to the community. And again, they don't want 3 and 4 story. We didn't want that. Was what's across the street. That was, those are more like apartments. I think a lot of people get the misconception of townhomes, of like the townhomes by the hospital. From my understanding, what we would like to see is some nicer style type of homes in there. And yes, they are a little bit more affordable. And like I said, again, if you've ever driven through Viridian, it's not a bad neighborhood. There's no crime in there, and the kids are all over the place. The families are all over the place, and it's a good place. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Yes, sure. Now that you've heard some of the comments, you can come up and respond a little bit.
I feel
State
like,
your name again. Just so it's
Jimmy
on the record.
DeGraffenreid. And well, first, this is maybe the most respectful public hearing I've been in when it comes to multifamily. So, I mean, good job to everybody. I mean, it's tough. I get it. I understand it. I've been on both sides of it. And, I've been in ones where people have been escorted out by the police, and it gets pretty heated. But I feel like the 2 public hearings right now have kind of joined together almost.
They are. We are.
And so I don't feel like I represented our side of it very well. I thought we were just doing the public hearing based.
We were, but we've opened it up essentially, is what it boils down to.
So are we going to have another public hearing after this, or is it?
Well, we'll just
say officially yes.
Officially yes, but it really won't be that. It'll already be mostly covered.
Present some more material, and then if people want
Okay, yeah. Because my understanding was we were just trying to change the general plan on this first one, and then we were going to talk about density and stuff like that. And really, I mean, since everybody's been talking about density, because I know that is the hardest thing to deal with, our plan, and that's why we have single families, that's why we have twin homes, and that's why we have townhomes, is we were trying to do more of a transitional piece that was trying to be more respectful of the single family homes and everybody living it at the same time, trying to get Mangelsons the best value that they can get for their property. So, I mean, that's the way we're trying to do it. This actual concept, in my opinion, has flaws in it. This is just something that we threw together to put out and say, this is something that we think could work, that would be close. But yeah, I mean, there's flaws, and I mean, we'll have to work through those type of things, but that's really, I just felt like I had to get back up again because of the two kind of mixing and matching. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Yes, I guess.
Hey, I already gave you a compliment on being respectful, so now I'm scared.
Would you come up to the microphone though, please?
Hey, come up and stand by me here.
Yeah, come up to the microphone, please. State your name again for the record, please.
It's Lee Timothy.
Thank you.
Have the Mangelsons already sold the home? I mean, sold the property?
No, well, they're still a part of it. So
Have they sold the property?
Well, Mike,
Can you say yes or no?
I'd have to say no because they're still very involved in the property now.
They're partners in the development.
Question.
Well,
They're
some of
partners
the
in the
Mangelsons
development.
are still involved in the property.
Okay.
They're partners in the development.
Yeah, so they are still in it. I have paid some of the Mangelsons money to be out there. Some of the Mangelsons are still in.
If you come up to the microphone. No. Come up to the microphone, please.
I know, Jake. So.
I'm Angela Newbert. We live in Don Mangelson's old house.
Okay.
So we live on the Mangelson property. But my question to you is, if your goal is to make the maximum amount of money for the Mangelsons, so you develop it and you get the zoning changed, and someone offers you double your money for it to build apartments, would you sell it? You get the zoning changed, and you say you're only going to build townhouses, but someone comes in and says, what if I offer you this much money? You sell it to that person, and then they build 3-story apartments because you're going to get the maximum amount of money that way.
I have never done that yet. Now, I don't
all the time.
It does happen all the time, and all I can answer off is past history. I have partners in it.
Yeah.
But at the same,
that's the worry. Is we change the zoning.
No, I
And
totally.
if their goal is to get the maximum amount of money for their family.
I don't think we said maximum. Maybe we did, but if we did, it's just like trying to. I guess we did say maximize the amount. So yeah. So
Would
yeah.
you be willing to sell it then
Yes.
to make your maximum amount of money to build apartments?
Well,
Can I say
I'm a
something
home
here?
builder as well, so.
If we do go this route, if we do change the zone, we as the planning commission can put restrictions on the density.
Okay.
So we could make it so that doesn't happen.
And I would be open to that because my job is building homes.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sell the property. I mean, I want to get the property to keep my people working.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it makes
and
sense,
I'm running
but
out of lots, so I kind of need it.
But it happens all the time. We get it rezoned and then someone comes in.
Well, and again, as I said, if we do rezone it, if we do get to that point and rezone it, we can set density limits on that rezone. If we go to an RMF zone, we can set density limits on that.
That's good to know, because if the goal
And-
is to get the most amount of money, I can see that happening.
And I feel that's fair. I mean, like I'm saying, this is the most respectful. I feel like I could sit in here and have a conversation with everybody and be fine, not be escorted out by the police. Daniel, why did you get up here?
How are you, Jimmy? So
I know
I've
this
actually
guy.
done work for Jimmy. My name is Jake Newbert again. My question to the council would be with townhouses in this industry as contractors and builders. There is a lot of investment properties, especially in townhomes, where investors come in and buy these properties and make them rentals. So my concern there is me being at my back door, my barn, my shop, my home. With that becoming rentals, what is the city's ability to, I guess, control investment properties? I know builders that I've worked with and dealt with, and as I've
And I know where you're headed with this, and let me just say, if we want an answer to this, we have assistant city attorney in the back that could maybe answer that.
So that would be my question is,
Because we don't know the answer. And so we're not going to be able to answer it. So I know what you're saying.
There are limits to investors coming in and buying all this property and becoming you get an investor in there that now you have a slumlord that we have multiple.
Yep, we understand.
So,
Thank you for your comment. We don't know the answer.
all right.
Anybody else have anything? I mean,
What's that?
we kind of changed it up here.
Yes, let's move on to the rest of that presentation. Right. Let's do the other presentation. Let's just keep the public hearing open. No, we better close the public hearing. We need a motion to close this public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on 5.1.
Okay.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay. Now let's finish the rest of the presentation. That might help with the rest of the questions and everything too.
So this is the current zoning map for the area. You can see that the hashed red area, it's zoned R1A now. We already talked about this a little bit in the presentation portion about the East Side Comprehensive Plan and the general plan. So the anticipated is in the East Side Comprehensive is that active living status. The anticipated, if we were to follow the general plan specifically, would be this mixed use center. And the most similar between the East Side and the general plan would be this district designation. This is the current request that has been submitted to us with the RMF multifamily 15. You can see in kind of an upside down Utah shape and kind of a brownish orange color, and the R110 in the bottom portion of that hexagonal area. Just some notes here. With a positive recommendation to modify the Eastside Comprehensive Plan, a potential zone change like that requested for the property makes some sense. And that's kind of just a note to be made here. Without a positive recommendation for the change to the Eastside Comprehensive Plan, then perhaps a zoning designations that would make sense under the active living would be the R19, the R175, or the R275. And in each of those zones, there is a possibility of having an overlay zone that would allow for, say, twin family homes. So those are just some notes to point out there. We've already seen this. It's been sitting up there for a while. This is the latest concept that the applicant gave to us, showing some land use transition. Jimmy pointed out that this is not perfect. We'd gone back and forth on several renditions with the applicant, and we felt as if it's perhaps just better to bring it to Planning Commission and discuss about how it would look for potential zone change. And then based off of what that looks like, it might be more advantageous to them to consider other variations on what they would do for a layout. Staff would recommend a zoning that would allow for reasonable land use transitions in this area from lower to higher density, seeing as how we've already heard from the public, and we know very well just across the street here, we've got townhomes, and a little further to the east, we have those 3- and 4-story apartment style buildings. So this RMF zone, which could potentially be zoned here with that designation change to the plans, does also allow for single family homes within the zone with a minimum lot size of 6,500 square feet. So that could be a potential way to have both, say, townhomes and single family homes within the same zone. Another option, again, I mentioned this already, but could be utilizing that twin family RMO overlay with zoning designations of the R19, the R175, or the R275. So either one of these suggestions, if done appropriately, would create that transition from the single family homes to the more dense homes on the north end of First 100 South. Just to share with you here, you can see my blinking arrow here. That's the road right there. That's 100 South. I put this map up here because this is what's in our transportation master plan. And it shows, if you can see the legend at the bottom, it says minor collector. So this area is intended to become a minor collector on 100 South. What does that look like? A minor collector, you can see in the kind of the italic text tells you about the size of it, but I also have a graphic here that shows that. So that's what the intent would be for 100 South at full build out. One comment I would mention that people talked about several times about safety and the road's not wide enough and things like that. This is how the road gets wider, is by development. Most of the time, the city does not widen roads on their own. It's typically through development.
Yeah, and the only way that usually happens if the city does it is if it becomes a major safety issue and we get funds from outside the city.
Correct. The city has very limited funds to actually install and widen and build new roads. They're typically just keeping up on existing.
I was going to bring that up if you didn't, so.
So that being said, collector road status also kind of lends some credence to the idea of having some land use transition here with maybe a little bit higher density along 100 South. So there's several possible motions here that I'm putting forward to you. The first one is forward a positive recommendation for approval of the requested zone changes as identified by the applicant. The second would be a modified recommendation for approval of the request. That could be any number of different zone changes that would fit into that active living or whatever designation is given to the Eastside Comprehensive Plan if that is modified. Third, a negative recommendation could be put forward to City Council for these zone changes. And then finally, the staff recommendation is if the proposed plan amendment is forwarded with a positive recommendation, then staff offer this alternative for the approval of the RMF 10 multifamily residential zone with a maximum density of 8 units to the acre, and then with reasonable residential transitions between housing types for the R1 and then also for the R110 zone. If no plan amendment is forward, then staff would recommend denial of the zone change requests. So any questions on that?
Commissioners, any questions? Okay. All right, let's open up another public hearing. Make a recommendation.
I move we open a public hearing on item 5.2 for the zone change requests.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor with yes?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay. We'll continue on. Most of you have probably already talked about what you're going to talk about, but if there's something additional that you need to say, please come up to the microphone and we'll, for that, Michael has.
I just want to make note that all of those public comments we read already, they interchange with the plan amendments and the zone changes. So I'm not going to read them again, but I'll just say ditto to what was previously stated, and we'll make note that for this hearing as well.
They're covered in both areas. So. Would you push the button, please? Yes.
My name is Deborah
Oh, hang on, the battery's dead.
You don't really want to hear what I have to say anyway, I guess so. Yeah. I currently don't reside in Payson city limits. I reside in the county, so I'm east of Payson. And I guess.
But in our annexation area?
I can't really tell. I've been trying to figure that out, and I don't want to be annexed because I guess I'm here to represent.
Well, no, you don't have to be annexed.
I'm not sure. I honestly am not sure. I've talked to, I don't know, one of the last meetings I was at, I talked to him. I think we're kind of in a gray area there. I think I'm Salem, but I'm not positive. That changes, it seems. But I guess I'm here to represent maybe the small farmer, that the quality of life that I think most of us, many of you in here have lived here and been here. I mean, I grew up with the Mangelsons that love the family, and I'm back in the home I grew up in. So I guess my question is do you have anything in the future for people that want to have a horse or a cow or a few goats or some chickens? I understand that, you know, families can sell and get their inheritance and get their money and such, and I don't begrudge that. But are we doing anything to keep the quality of life? I mean, I think most people love to come walk. Many of you have walked out past our home. You love to come walk out. They love to see the hay fields. They love to see the open spaces. And I think basically they're going to be all gone. So I guess my question is, do you have any plan for that so that people can have still a quality of life, that kids can see where their food comes from, and if they want to raise an animal, they can. And just, again, we've watched things change a lot with this high density that came in with the 400 units that are on the Holdaway piece. It's definitely changed. It's changed walking on that street. If I kept track every day of what I see while I'm outside, there's dozens of people that run the stop signs. We're on 10300. And come sit in my front yard one day if you'd like to see how many people run those stop signs. And they're not going 10 and 15 miles an hour. They're going like 40 and 50 miles an hour. And so safety is an issue. But I think my main thing is just quality of life, to be able to see what's down the road, that as you talk about transitioning, the transitioning comes out into my neighborhood. And our hope is to grow old there. I feel like we try to be good citizens and want to help the community have all kinds of feel, the rural feel. Is there any spot left for that, I guess, is my question. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's dying.
Lynette Zeman again. The issue with the buffer, so those few houses there, our house is right next to that buffer. Is a block going to make a difference to the high density housing? I don't feel like
Okay,
that's
again,
a block buffer.
High
Yeah.
density housing
Well,
is kind of a misnomer in this case. If we
Yes.
were to rule on it, it's higher density, but it's not apartments.
Okay, yes, still, it's the same point in my mind. I know the
A
higher,
townhome and an apartment
Yeah.
are substantially different.
yes, I agree. And they were proposing townhomes.
Yes, they are.
Where's the parking going to be? I don't get it. That's one of my I live right on that road. It's horrible. But what my main point was, I don't feel like that's much of a buffer. A few homes next to my house, I'm still going to be impacted by that other housing. Do you understand where I'm talking about? Thank you.
I'm Lee Timothy. I don't mean to be a sliver for you all, but I did want to re-mention the fact that I used to walk by the Vallows before it was built, and it was a nice walk there. And the garbage and the abandoned cars and those that are not licensed have already proven what kind of environments created because of that. And would like you to consider that as you look at these proposals. Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Brian Watson. I appreciate what I know our sister Zeman said about one single family lot is not enough buffer. I mean, respectfully to the owners, to the developers, with the amount of time that this property has been owned, I am highly confident that if you put single family homes in there, you will get an excellent return on this property. It may not be what you could get with many multifamily homes, but you're going to get an excellent return. As planners, I think we've been talking about micro issues and macro issues. We focus mostly on the micro issues, but I hope we can expand our minds into some of the macro issues. Right now, we're talking about one specific area, right? And if we think beyond that area, already there's a higher density development there. By adding a second higher density development, even if there's that buffer of single family, I think we should all have the foresight to understand every developer from here on out is going to look at that and say, wow, this is where the higher density begins. Everything from here on out should be higher density. And for people who are established, who've had farmland and property there for decades. I hope that the city, that the planning commission can take a look at not just the micro issue of this property, but the macro issue and say, yeah, buffers are appropriate. And maybe we should think about the type of buffer we're creating for the single family homes that are there and the door that we are opening for every future development thereafter. So that's what I would invite you to consider.
Thank you.
Rita Bueller again. First of all, I just want to say amen to Jake Newbert's comments earlier and concerns and questions about the 180 south continuation of that road. I just wanted to note, I have daughter's family that lives in townhomes in Spanish, and I have seen that repeatedly, where people buy those homes and then turn them into rentals. And some of them are very good homeowners and pay attention to those rentals and the people in them, and others do not. And it creates a real challenge for the people that live there. That's their home. They bought them as their home, trying to raise their families there, when those places are used as just rental properties, even though they are townhomes that have been built for that purpose and designated in that way. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to close the public hearing on 5.2.
Second? Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor with yes?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, discussion, commissioners. We have two items that we need to discuss. First off, we ought to discuss the general plan amendment. And the reason that is because it will impact what we do with the zone change how we handle the general plan amendment. So Commissioner Gettebor, let's start with you.
I think there's a discrepancy between the two plans right now, and so that needs to be brought into alignment. And so I think that they should be.
Can you were you able to get the map that I asked earlier? Get the two that you could toggle between?
Yes, I won't be able to toggle very well because they're on different.
Right, I understand that, but. Thank you.
We need to hire him. Okay. So this is the map of the East Side Comprehensive Plan. I can zoom out if you want to see, but the area being discussed right now is this active living that's on the western side of that brown line. That's 1300 East. So it's on that western side there being discussed. The area immediately south of it is in yellow. That's traditional. And then the district is that kind of light orange there. Anything else you wanted to see on this? You want me to zoom out?
No, that's
okay.
fine. And then can you go to the general plan map of that area?
So this is the future land use map for the city's general plan.
Zoom into that area.
And that's this red area. That red area is defined as mixed use center.
Okay, does everybody understand what we're looking at here?
I'm trying to decide where we're at. Right here. We're talking this.
Can you
piece,
see
right?
my cursor? Yeah, so right here. Actually, right there.
It's the middle of that red area piece.
Yep.
Okay. So that's where we're talking about. is that area there. And this is the general plan. The general plan was adopted in 2020. This area specific plan was adopted in 2009.
Okay, so what is the red for the zoning?
That is mixed use.
Okay, mixed use. That's what I wanted.
And see, it's right next to
which yellow is,
well, the striped is a mixed use node.
yeah.
It's a general
where the
big
apartments
node
are.
of all sorts of things. So it's a mixed use development node. So it can be all sorts of things. So that's what the general plan shows.
So the mixed use node would be commercial, residential of whatever varieties, townhomes, condominiums, and whatever commercial would potentially go in there. The mixed use center is an area of transition that has a variety of housing types only, not commercial in it.
Yeah.
So with this mixed use now, do we go strictly residential?
You turned your mic off instead of on.
There you go. Okay, so the mixed use, we don't have to go strictly commercial on that. We can go residential in there 100% if we so desire, or what?
Well, that's what I just said. The mixed use center, which is that
Which
kind
is
of
the red area.
pinkish
Yeah,
salmon color, that is residential. It's just a variety of
Okay, that's
lot
but where we
sizes and
said that
housing
was
types. Yeah.
Where we could use both commercial and
No. The red does not have commercial in it.
that's mixed use, but that's
It's mixed use residential is what the mixed use
okay.
stands stands for. It's
That's
not
why I just wanted
commercial.
because we talked commercial in there. That's why I'm verifying in my brain.
No, this is not commercial.
Okay, so I just wanted to
The
verify.
commercial is the orange stripe.
The orange
and
stripe.
Yellow striped.
Okay, I just
Okay.
want to make sure, so I've got it right. Okay.
Commissioner Adams, anything else? No comments? Commissioner Frisbee, comments?
So,
Thoughts?
yeah, dealing with 5.1, I think, along with Commissioner Getterborg, we need to align the two plans. We need to make sure that that is alignment. This is not regarding the zoning, but just the plans themselves. I do believe we need to bring the plans in alignment to where we've got the same thing going as far as the plans go.
And Commissioner Haymooley?
Yeah, I agree on the 5.1. I appreciate all of the comments that have made, and then Michael reading all of digging through all the emails that got sent in. It's been great to have this community here to express your concerns. I'm inclined, based on at least 5.1, to lean towards the single family portion. And if that designation has to happen through traditional in the district, that's just one part, as opposed to the RM15, which I'd be against, which is in 5.2. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Well, the zoning is the 5.2 issue.
Okay.
The 5.1 issue is what do we change the general plan to? Okay. Or the area specific plan. What do we change one of the plans to? It's probably better to change the area specific plan because it's the oldest one, but we can change it to whatever. We can change either one, either way.
Yeah,
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just
We can
aligning.
change the general plan, or we can change the area specific plan. Or we could change both, I guess. So
That's the only question I had, just for clarification.
So it sounds like the recommendation we have so far is that we do make a match in one way or another. What's the recommendation for how they ought to match?
So I think the east side plan needs to match the general plan, which is the newest. Again, this is irregardless of density. This is not doing the density side. This is just bringing the two plans in alignment. And I think we make the east side irrelevant and bring it to the general plan, or make that recommendation at least. So.
Okay, and the general plans.
So just to confirm, the closest designation in the east side plan is that one called the district.
Yeah, I was going to say the east
The-
side plan is probably the easier one to
So
change.
without adding language to that plan that would actually create maybe a different designation. The district might be the best one, but I would strongly advise if you are wanting to do that and only wanting to see single family homes, that would also be a designation that no commercial or whatever other developments you wouldn't want to see there be part of the intent for that district area.
That would be what I would prefer, is to do.
Do you want to make a motion?
Yes,
Commissioner
I'd make a
Hamerly?
motion to specify the amendment to the portion of the East Side Comprehensive Plan land use map to be designated as the district with the specification for single family and not townhomes in that plan.
Or commercial, I assume.
Or commercial. Did I speak slow enough, Marty, for you this time? As a former New Yorker? Thank you.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
So I'm still torn because I don't know that it's
I-
irrelevant to have townhomes or things in that area yet. I don't know if that's.
I think that's, okay.
So I'd have a hard time seconding with completely
If
eliminating
we don't
the
have a second,
possibility.
it dies. Okay, I need another motion. The original motion died.
So I'd make the motion that we designate it as the district, but without the restriction at this time of having a zoning that could possibly lead to at least a multifamily townhome type situation. So,
but
but eliminate commercial and any high density apartments type complexes.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second? We're not by you again? Yes.
So redesignate it as the district, but with the restriction that we would not have high density home, like apartments
No idea.
or commercial, but that doesn't mean we couldn't have multifamily. I don't want to eliminate multifamily altogether, but just the ultra high density.
Could we limit that to like a duplex or a twin home? Is that the stipulation, or how do we do that?
How far is that? And this is a recommendation. This is not
This is a recommendation.
I think that would be, you could definitely put that as your recommendation with information about that for city council. But ultimately, again, this is a plan.
Right.
The plan's not going to rule. It's going to be the zoning.
Right.
And so I would say any kind of land use limitations and stuff are most likely going to be strongest with a zone change and not the actual plan change. But yes, you can definitely have those comments forward to city council with your intents for why you would consider that designation change.
Yeah. So that would be my recommendation. We change the designation then with the intent that the zoning be selected very appropriately for the area, which would most likely not include any of the high density multifamily, but still allow for some multifamily at a lower density.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Do you understand it now?
Yeah, I understand, but I still don't.
Do I have a second for that one?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Commissioner Hamerly.
I'll say no.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
Commissioner Adams. You want me to skip you for a second?
Skip me for a minute here.
All right, Commissioner Gettebor.
Yes.
Do you want me to vote too?
Go ahead.
I'm going to vote yes. Commissioner Beecher.
I would vote yes, but I would like to, I would change it if I did put some other wording in there, would I? I mean, I would like to see more residential, single family.
So you'd have to propose an
we can do
amendment
that
to
in
his
the zone
motion.
change.
We could do that in the zone
That'd
change.
be covered with the zone.
That'd be covered in the zone. We're not
Okay.
going to cover that here.
Then I'll vote yes.
Okay, so we have 4 yes, 1 no. Okay. That's the recommendation to city council, is that we change that area plan to include the district in that area. I need discussion on the zone change. Who would like to start?
I think Perry should start this time.
Commissioner Adams, do you want to start?
Well, I guess the best way to do it is we'd go to is it R175 or?
No,
No,
it's
it'd be
R110.
R110, which is.
R110, so that's 10,000 square
Square
foot
foot.
lots. Okay, that's the
That's
single
a
family.
single family, but
Okay, that's a single family, 10,000 square foot lot.
that's what's recommended for it anyway. Right now, it was kind of on the.
There's two areas.
There's two areas, but right now.
So they're requesting an RMF 10. Go back to the map.
Okay, so you go an RF.
Okay, so this one right
and then
here.
You got
So-
the RM10.
And
Okay.
the R110.
Okay.
That's what they're requesting.
They're requesting RMF 15.
Right.
Yeah,
Did I say
15,
10? I meant 15.
10 at the bottom and
RM
15 at the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
RMF
have
10,
the buffer in
15
there.
and R110
Yeah.
is what they're requesting. Discussion on that?
Or I could start then.
Okay.
I go back to, yeah, what I sound like the general consensus was to approve the R110 and to decline the RMF 15. And I tend to lean that way as well, that I would prefer single family homes,
Okay.
the R110 designation.
You would, so you're thinking R110 period on the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Frisbee, do you have any comments?
So I'd be more inclined to unfortunately, that R10 doesn't allow any twin homes or anything like that. So I would go with the R19, which would allow for an overlay, at least in certain portions of this. And then we could determine the appropriate transition, whether that's two single family lots or whatever, but still allow for some twin homes or something like that further out into the property. So I would be looking more like the R19.
Okay. Commissioner Gettebor?
I'm of the same opinion. I think that there is room for some townhomes. And yeah, that would be where I would lean as well. R110 for most of it, but with some overlays for some townhomes as well.
The 10 does not allow for overlay, does it?
Yeah, it'd have to be R19.
It has to be R19 or R175.
Which an R19 is a 9,000 square foot lot versus
So,
R110. Which
so
is a
this
10,000 square foot lot.
this slide, you can see that RMF zone does allow for single family. So if you're considering potential townhomes, maybe you designate a certain percentage, for example, that you would want to see single family homes in a variety of sizes or whatever, and then a percentage townhomes or something. You could do that all in that one RMF zone, or you could do something else. Those are just some thought processes for you to think about.
So I think my biggest concern about going all RMF is it is, I think, a little harder to control versus if we go like the R19 would be my concern at least. So
most likely it would probably need to have some sort of development agreement.
Right.
If you're doing the RMF zone and wanted to have a variety of home types in there.
So the RM19 would be probably the better out of the two to help control what we would like to do, or what would.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but I'm just.
No, not necessarily, because the RMF allows for the same things. The difference is that we would, if we want to restrict some things, we would need a development agreement. So that can happen
You
too.
could also, we've done this in the past. For example, staff was recommending the RMF 10 with a density of between 8 and 10 units to the acre. You could have a density number in there.
Right. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that you can recommend the RMF 10 and go to a maximum of 8 units per acre. That means that for example, on this layout, that's too many townhomes. If you go to the RMF 8, that's too many townhomes.
But the RFM 8 would allow for single family or townhomes as long as the density is not
The RMF 10.
Exceeded.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can control it more with the RMF. So we can put stipulation on what we want.
The density, we can put a stipulation on maximum density. Yes, we can.
Of the twin homes, correct?
What's that?
Of the twin homes is maximum density period, or
No, the anything in the RMF zone.
so this
So,
whole.
so we designate, for example, we could designate that the lower 5 lot area, the southern 5 lot area is R110. Okay.
Okay.
We leave that R110, and we can even designate more of it than that. Then the remainder, we can designate RMF 10 with a maximum density of 8 units per acre. And that would control what can be put in there. That would be the density requirement. So for example, if you take out these 50,000 square foot of lots down here on the southern end,
Mhm.
and
10,000.
and you go from there, that only allows for a certain number of homes in there at 8 units per acre.
So how
It's
many
actually
acre
almost
parcel
60.
is this?
What's that?
How many acre parcel is this?
Almost 8. 7.91, is that correct? Okay. Any other thoughts?
I'm still not sure. I mean, going even RF10 and at 8 units to an acre, or whatever, I still think that may be, depending on how the transition goes or whatever, it might be too high in this area. So that would be my concern is even at 8 units to an acre, then it's still creating the appropriate transition
are we 8
there.
units to an acre net or gross?
So if you recall,
We've
a few
talked
months
about
ago,
this. That's why I
we
want to find
actually
out.
revised our definition on density. And that definition essentially is net density, but we defined it to basically state density will be based on total buildable land, excluding roads, unbuildable property such as wetlands and slopes, anything that is not usable for homes to actually be built on. So there would be potentially roads with this, which wouldn't be able to be
included
part
in
of
that
that
number.
calculation.
Correct.
So for example, with what's here, if this is 7-something acres, that's probably 4.5, 5 acres that would be available to build on after roads, if it was laid out something like this.
Is there potential consensus to change it to R19 as opposed to R110? Because I'm not comfortable with the RMF designation, whether it's 10 or 15.
That if you want to make that designation, you can.
Well, I'm just asking if it is something to consider amongst this group before I make a motion and then could it not happen.
So I'm just wondering at this point, maybe we need further thought, and I don't know if we remand it back to staff or recommend denial to city council to consider it a little further prior to making a zoning designation on the property.
I don't want to remand it back. I think we can decide. So, my recommendation.
So then if R19 allows and permits for some twin homes, but it also allows
with
for
an RMO zone, with an overlay zone, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
And it allows for more single family homes. And then that's my proposal is, Mr. Chairman, is to propose the amendment to
We're recommending to the city council.
Recommend to the city council a designation of R19
for the entire 8 acres.
For the entire 8 acres.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second on that?
I think I'll second that one.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Commissioner Gettebor.
Let me think about that for a minute.
Okay. Commissioner Adams.
Yeah.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
Commissioner Amuli.
Yes.
Commissioner Gettebor.
Yes.
And I'll say yes as well. So that's our recommendation to the city council.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to let Michael explain that.
So essentially, if this is only a recommendation, It would still have to go to city council, but they'll go to city council with these recommendations.
And your public comments. The city
Correct.
council gets all of these comments.
The city council can vote against what the planning commission has just recommended. It doesn't happen often. It's quite rare. And they could, for example, do as was requested by the applicant. The city council could also do something different. If they do as what the planning commission has just recommended, then the whole area would get the plan amendment, which would change that language from active living to the district. And then it would also get the zone changed to the R19, which would mean for a minimum lot size of 9,000 square feet. The R19 does allow for additional, I guess it's called an overlay zone, that could allow for twin homes to go on an R19 sized lot.
So in other words,
So
a twin home would share 9,000 square feet with its neighbor.
But that is additional.
That's additional step.
That would be an additional step that would need to be applied for in that case. So.
Is that clear as mud for everybody? The commission's recommendation to city council is the whole area to be R19.
I don't understand
The R19 is that single family homes of 9,000 square foot lots minimum. But it does allow for an RMO zone to be added to it, which is an additional request. But that overlay zone allows for twin homes on a 9,000 square foot lot. So you take 9,000, you divide it in half, and you can put two homes on that in certain areas. It's not monstrous, but it's not a lot different than the 10,000 square foot lots that are adjacent to this.
Well, the general consensus from your group, everybody that's been talking, it was R110. So it didn't sound like we had enough. And again, city council has to ratify what we are proposing.
Yeah.
Where R110
we'll let them decide.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Where R110 wasn't, we weren't getting enough traction with that. I proposed R19.
I couldn't tell you because I don't know what that zone is.
So I would propose if you've got further questions, you can come into the city offices and talk about it. But ultimately, R19 is about a fifth acre is essentially what that is. 9,000 square foot is about a fifth acre. So they can be bigger, but that would be the minimum lot size. And again, it's an additional designation if property owners wanted to do a twin home unit on there, and then that would be this same process to go through. It's like the same as a zone change essentially. So every single family home is required to have a 2-car garage and a driveway that would park 2 cars in it.
They're required to have 4 parking places. Well, every single family home is required to have 4 parking places on their lot. We're not worried about 1130. We're talking about what the zone requires. So if you want to discuss it further with staff, I'd recommend you do that. We're not going to be able to answer any more questions on that tonight. So, commission reports, staff reports, anybody have anything they need to bring up?
Nothing immediately.
I need one more motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor by yes.
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 Yes. thank you again for coming. It's not often we get people here that want to talk to us. We a lot of times make these decisions in the dark. So thank you.